so excited to be able to bring one of my very, very dear friends and former students, Bruce Anderson. He is going to show you the coolest finish that he actually developed on accident. Tell us a little about yourself and how did you come up with this?
I'm Bruce Anderson from Anderson Woodworks USA in Waterloo, Iowa. And we were just doing this finish here, and we ended up with a finish we didn't like, and so we tried to fix it, and we just kept going with it, and just ended up with something that everybody liked. So
you're saying it was a happy accident?
It was a happy accident.
All right.
Sure.
And you've run with it?
Yeah, I run it, and this is one of those finishes that you run it the whole time. I mean, all the working time that the epoxy has. So it's not a real quick finish. You really have to work. And you want to know what colors you put in at certain times.
But you really took off and have done this several times. Now that you've developed it,
yes, we came up with we came up with the name Cottonwood Canyon. What we did was I put it on my Facebook page and said, "What would you name it?" And we had a whole bunch of people come in, and that was the name we kind of went with somebody's suggestions. So
tell me the last one that you did this. How big was it?
205, almost 210 square feet. It's huge.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So, stay tuned. I can't wait for you to see all this. All right, let's go.
Okay, so we're gonna start out with the white first. And we're doing more of a striated pattern here. So, to me, you wanna make sure that you start and stop straight off instead of trying to hook around, because you'll be able to see that within your finish.
So it's super important that if you're doing this, that you have a very level working surface, because the epoxy will definitely run and can cause your pattern to move. So that's super important before you start. Make sure you're level.
Very random, but just make sure you don't hook it all the way around.
So don't make a U-turn at the end?
Yeah, no U-turn at the end, because you will definitely see that. Everybody else might not be able to, but you will.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go with this beach
sand luster.
Beach sand luster.
From Color Passion.
So what we're doing is we're just taking different shades of white in a way, and kind of giving a lot of color with this finish. It's a lot of background noise. Lots of background noise.
I love that. Layering and layering.
And then we're gonna take that skim milk, just a little bit of white and a whole lot of clear,
Now,
pretty
Bruce,
much.
Tell everybody why we use two different opacities of white.
Just gives you depth, gives you variation on everything, and you get to play with color.
Awesome.
And I'm just filling all the stuff in. The biggest thing is the aluminum or the silver is going to take over.
Okay. So you did equal parts of your white, your translucent white, and your beach sand luster, and then you did about half of that in the aluminum.
Yep.
Okay.
And all this white here, just this little bit will take over quite a bit.
All right.
So I like to kind of get the edges a little bit just to make sure that I got some kind of coverage.
Awesome. I love to hear you say that.
And that way, especially with this kind of finish, you'll have that variation on the edges, and you don't want one side to have just one color. I will let you go ahead and just start melding it all together.
Okay, so this is fast becoming my favorite tool. It's called a magic trowel. It's actually for concrete, but I love it because it allows you to meld in a bigger surface and you don't get little short striations. So I'm just gonna kind of bring this down. And I am gonna kind of go a little bit over to the edge. That's not a finished edge, so we don't have to worry about that. So now I can say I did my due diligence. And you can finish with the rest. How about that?
All right.
All right. Did I do okay job melding?
Well, we're just covering the surface right here. And right now we can actually make the little X's or whatever. It really doesn't matter.
Okay.
We just want to make sure that
Get some design pattern
Yeah.
in there. Okay.
and it's just background noise, but we just want to make sure that we don't have huge areas of white.
Gotcha.
we want to make sure that we have variation in color.
I gotcha.
And then we want to make sure that we have some areas where it's not going to be dry.
So you're actually using that background color to peekaboo through your,
Absolutely.
your finish. So you could come in here with a black background.
Yep.
And have a little bit darker finish, right?
Yep.
Awesome. I think normally you use a black background.
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's my bad. I painted it brown.
Well, we're going to see how this turns
We're
out.
gonna see how it looks.
And it wouldn't probably hurt to go ahead and wet down the edges and grease them all up, because even though we're mixing at 5 ounces per square foot here, and we're not really trying to hold a pattern here, all we're trying to do is just get some background noise here, because we're going to be manipulating everything up from underneath. All right, so we're going to go ahead and torch the top here, and then after here it's go time, because everything is pretty much timed the way we put it on here, and we're going to work it the whole working time with the epoxy.
So Bruce, looking at this, dude, this could be a finish
all on its
all
own.
on its own right here. But we're going to take it to the next level.
So with this, we want to put some colors on while it's still fluid. Sometimes you want to get straight lines and you wait for it to set up. This here you do not. So here we always want to make sure that we got a little bit of epoxy on the edge, and it doesn't have to be much, and you just spray it on the table. That's pretty much what it is. This finish is going to get ugly before it gets
Pretty.
yeah. So what I do is I just kind of, I don't know, we make it eyelids, ovals, whatever, and I just kind of bring it on by, and I don't do a whole lot.
Oh, okay. So you're just kind of making like a little,
Yeah.
you said an eyelet. That's kind of cool.
And then the next color, I'll just get it concentrated. So all it's going to do is just kind of corral that color into that area. And I want to be random here. I know I'm kind of got a little pattern going here, but I'm just trying to get these colors in. Once I put the other colors in, I'll start strategizing how to be more random. And
So what was this color?
this is the metallic dark copper.
Dark copper, okay.
Yep. And right now this looks like a hot mess, but it's going to bleed itself out. You can already tell from here to there.
Yeah.
It just kind of really bleeds everything out. So
like you said, it's important to get this started as soon as you finish melding your colors.
yes, while it's fluid.
Don't let it sit. Yeah, don't let it sit.
Yep.
Just, get it in there. All right. Cool.
And you could be real messy like that, because you're going to go back over this so many times with different colors that you're going to manipulate the surface anyway. So
All right. That's pretty cool.
background color on top of background color here.
Building all the layers.
Yes.
Of interest.
Yep. So now we're done with that color. We're going to go ahead and take
What is this one?
the champagne bronze.
Same thing?
Yep. So this is just a little bit lighter, and it doesn't matter. You still got the same color on your stick. You're still manipulating all that. And you're just going to kind of work it in.
Oh, so now you're going inside each one of them?
Yeah, inside each one, and then sometimes you want to kind of move it out
Okay.
and maybe outline that.
Oh, that's cool.
So you got different metallics working against each other, and then working against the background as well. And here I'm just taking this, bringing it all the way over here, and I'm just dragging this. And it doesn't have to be straight. It doesn't have to be a certain length, but you want to make sure that some of the stuff does go over the edges. And as soon as this starts setting up, then you'll be able to see how different colors start pulling against one another. This is the big key. As soon as you get it poured, you get it melded, you put the metallics on, give it time to flow. Now we're going to come in with regular accent colors and still background noise. So here, same stick, same colors. We're just messing around with everything. This is a London gray. It's a satin. I grabbed this by accident, and this is part of the happy accident.
And you like it, so yeah.
Well, I'm not a big fan of brown, but I took everything I had, and it ended up flowing together.
Oh, cool. All right.
So this London gray is not gray. It's actually like a chocolate milk kind of color.
Yeah.
Pretty ugly, isn't it?
No, I actually like it.
It's it gets real to me, it gets real ugly before it
It
gets.
looks real neutral. That color
Yes.
looks it looks like to me it'll go with a gray interior, or it would go with maybe more of a brown interior. So that
Yep.
it's a very versatile color.
So here, I'm kind of highlighting out here a little bit. And then for some visual interest, I'll put some in here with just this smoke
So you're
gray.
kind of just building on that one little eyelet looking
Yep.
color or shape. Yeah, cool. How did you come up with that?
Happy accident.
I would have never in a million years thought to do that.
Well,
That's crazy. I
the,
love it.
The biggest thing is when you start playing with stuff, you're not going to get it right every single time. So you're playing with stuff all the time, and you're going to mess up. So with all this money sitting here, you got to try to fix it the best you can. And if
I agree.
you can't fix it,
Now let me ask you, in your happy accident playing around and trying to figure out something, did you video yourself so that you could recreate this?
absolutely. This is
Very good. I taught you well. I taught you well.
This is the biggest thing because I did this, and this is why I'm telling you with this order here. If I tried to recreate this again, I
Yep.
probably wouldn't have because of the metallics. Because the metallics go on first, and then the solids, and then we'll go to the next step. And there's probably easier ways or better ways to do this, but I'm just recreating how I do it.
And you've recreated this so many times.
So many times.
That you know you're confident when you present it to a customer. When you present that sample board, you're confident that you can recreate this because you practiced it and you built your confidence around it.
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing is when you're videoing yourself, for some reason you tell yourself you have to show everybody. You don't.
No.
You do the video and you watch it. If you don't like it, you ain't got to share it. It's totally up to you, but it's the only way to learn is to video yourself and do it that way. I do this every single time. I get so far at a point here and I'm like, man, this is a hot mess. Where do I go from here? But then at the end, it really kind of ties it all together and it really shows through.
Yeah, so you've got, with the Stone Coat Art Coat, you've got, oh my gosh, an hour.
We worked it an hour and a half.
Yeah, easily. Depending on your temperature and humidity.
Yes.
But yeah, you have a lot of work time. That's for sure.
So now that's the London gray. We're gonna go with the smoke grays. For some reason, this complements this chocolate milk look. And all I do is I'm just following up and hitting up, not really mutering it. But
Are you mutering it?
but I put that in there and see how that complements
Yes, love it. Love
so
it.
I just pretty much hit it where that's at. And then maybe even sometimes I'll come
Kind of
in.
by itself, you know?
Yeah, and then just
You're just continuing to build upon that first pattern that you started.
right.
Yeah. So guys, I do want to say this. We are in a very large work area. We have great ventilation. If you are using spray paint and you're by yourself and you're not shooting a video, you should be wearing a mask. Okay?
Absolutely.
So take care of yourself. We're on film, but we do have a very, very good ventilation system here. And we just want you guys to take care of yourself. The products that we're using, our Stone Coat products, are zero VOCs, so they're very, very, very safe and don't require a respirator. I love how you created that background first because it's just gorgeous. And then these colors are just kind of sitting on top and really giving a 3D effect. This is just... I know you keep saying it looks ugly, and I know it's all going to come together.
Right.
I can already see it, and I love it.
Well, the biggest thing is, say you do shoot a video and you try this finish, and time lapse it.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to see the change. You're like, holy cow, you know, this is where I should be at, and this is what it's going to look like. And I can't believe, and all this here. See, I'm just kind of hitting it with a stick, and I'm just kind of pulling it, and it's going to end up dragging itself out. And you don't have to load your stick up all the time. You can just have just a little bit bleed out at once. And see, hey, you had that big blob there, and now you're just kind of pulling this out.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, now we're going to end up using some gloss black. This is going to really make everything pop here and really accent everything. Right now it's all background noise, but this is going to really make some definition here. So again, you want to make sure you got a little bit of epoxy on here. and you're just going to start running this through.
Now I've seen pictures of this. I've never seen it live like I'm seeing it now. And it's amazing how it comes out now, seeing how you started. You know, it's really cool to see how this whole thing is coming together.
Right, so you can have like a huge knot here, and if there's an area where there's not a knot, you can always add black.
Sure.
And just make a little black knot. So here, you got a little bit here, but I think I want to kind of let this come in a little bit and still have some of the gold accents in there.
And now you're getting a little more artistic.
Right. So here, right where we've worked this for a little bit yet, and we're able to use the black to almost draw what you want to in. Where if we did it early, it would have definitely lost its pattern.
Exactly. It would have bled out like the rest of them. But because our epoxy's starting to set up, we're getting a little more distinction with our lines.
Yep. So here you kind of see how I did this kind of like fishtail, and it came around that way, and another one here, and I went that way. So it's just
you're just creating such pretty designs now. I love it.
And you don't have to think about it. It's not like making a vein where you have to think about one going one way and then which way it veers off. You don't have to even think about that.
Yeah.
So you're just trying to highlight stuff, and then at that moment you're thinking, well, I might want a little bit more black here and black there, and then you could take time to come back and even accent it even more. And sometimes you want to just kind of take that where you can kind of see this here, and it's not really a whole lot of anything. So I'll even take the flat part of the stick, and I'll just pop that in there just for visual interest, and then, you know, kind of drag that in and out.
Oh, now you're getting fancy and showing off.
So the biggest thing here is trying to make sure I kind of highlight almost all these accents, and then we'll put a little bit more black in here in some concentrated areas just for more depth, more visual interest. And then we'll hit it up with a hammered white, and that kind of gives it more of a, I don't know, like a knot, like a spider web kind of moldy knot look. So here I'm putting big blobs in, and it's just gonna connect a little bit here and there, just visual interest. We don't have anything right here, so we'll put a little bit of something right there. All right, last up here is the hammered white. This really, you can drag the accents and all that stuff. So what I usually do is I just dab it in the bigger black areas, and then I pull that out, and it really ties everything together.
So now, is that a metallic also?
No, it's just a hammered.
Just a hammered,
Yep.
okay.
And it's just the way the hammered works.
The propellant in there just kind of adds some.
And I just kind of dab it in there. And the biggest thing is, if it takes over like that, you want to move it right away, because if you don't, it's going to clump up on you.
Okay. So don't let it sit too long. So don't go put dabs all over your countertop. Kind of do it a little at a time.
Kind of see how that went right there. So that kind of blends in a little bit.
Yep.
And then you can even bring this out. So you'll get like a hammered white, and then whatever colors you're running with, it's almost like a hammered gray or whatever. And you just run it along the side, or even in that black, and it'll separate, and then you'll just have that little bit of hammered accent on there. I really like how that turned out right there.
There's so much visual interest on this whole thing that I can imagine sitting at a bar, having breakfast and coffee, and just staring at this. Because there's so much depth and levels that it's gorgeous.
So the biggest thing is you don't have to just hit it on the black either. You can hit it on the gray and accent, or even by itself, because you're still pulling off from the melded marble.
Sure, you're still that
and then everything else in between.
Yeah. So at this point, what you're doing now is just kind of a preference. I mean, you could stop at any point, correct?
Yep, absolutely.
And it's just depending on how much of that accent that you want to do and add. So it's very customizable.
Yep. And I think the biggest thing is you're so tied into this that sometimes you got to walk away just to look at it and go, what really needs the attention.
I love that you just said that, because I was just fixing to say you can get honed in on one
Yep.
spot and be kind of have a creative block because you're just focusing on one little area.
Yep.
It is so important to do exactly what you said. Back up, evaluate the whole piece as one big project. Maybe see where you're, have a space or something where you can add some more color.
Yep.
And then move back in. So that's a pro tip, and that's a great pro tip. I love this. You did a fantastic job. I love it. I love it. Tell everybody again, what's the name of this?
It's Cottonwood Canyon.
Cottonwood Canyon.
Cottonwood Canyon.
Awesome. I love it.
Yep.
All right, guys. If you like this sort of finish and you love me having special guests, let me know in the comments below. We love having special guests. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel because we're going to hit 100,000 here pretty quickly. All of these color additives can be bought on our website, RK3Designs.com. Spray paints at any local hardware store. So Bruce, tell everybody how they can get in contact with you.
You can check me out on Facebook, Anderson Woodworks USA, or you can check out my website at AndersonWoodworksUSA.com. Make sure it's the USA at the end. And check me out. I got some stuff on there, and then other stuff. If you just go on the Facebook page, you can kind of follow the process. I don't just do the final product. I bring you along for the whole ride. So
cool. Awesome. All right, guys. Remember, we love you, and don't be scared.
Move forward and be creative.
Ba-bam. Adios.